We're invincible. Trust in me. We're invincible. Don't you see? We're invincible.
Back to the episode 7 of the Better Than the Board Challenge with Crystal Palace here on Foot Manager 2018. For the eagle-eyed amongst you will see we're now in the 3rd of February. I think it was around Christmas, maybe mid-December for the last episode. There's a couple of reasons for that really. The first was last week my voice just completely went. I wasn't able to record, but at the same time I had a couple of days off work with it. I just wanted to get stuck into the save a bit more, primarily looking at transfers, scouting, with the upcoming January transfer window, which obviously now has since closed. Another part of that also was we were doing every game, following the board's sort of decision to put me under review for my position and, you know, the risk of losing my job. Pretty much after that last game I went onto the board confidence and we had been changed to stable. And I think it was about the 12th of January, just after the window opened, we actually got the announcement, which was about the month after we got the initial announcement, that we had done enough to keep our job. So yeah, I was safe. So I thought, you know what, I'd rather than just show all those games, I thought I'd just progress the save a little bit more, try and get to the transfer window, bring some reinforcements in, do a bit of wheeling dealing, bring the players in that we need, and sort of come back after that, hopefully having not lost more games to be in trouble again or get sacked again. So what I've kind of got 2 shorter episodes kind of planned today really. I'm going to film them sort of back to back, but they'll come out, I'm not sure what days, but I'm trying to release Monday, Wednesday and Friday. I think this will be out on a Monday I believe, and the next one on a Wednesday. So this one's going to be the transfer activity, who we've brought in, who we've let go essentially. The second one will be catching up on all the games that we've played since the last game, which I think was Huddersfield and Burnley. Huddersfield and Burnley. So we've played a few games since then. We've had the FA Cup in there as well, obviously that was early January. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the transfers. So the first out, Julian Speroni. He's 38 years old. Not a lot to say about this one really. 38 years old, wasn't playing any games, wasn't going to get in the team. He was on quite a high wage, I can't remember exactly what it was, I think it was in the 20s. Not blessed with a great deal of wage budget or transfer budget, so it was an obvious one really. He's gone back to Argentina, Chacarita Juniors, not a club I've ever heard of. 8.5k. As you can see, he's not doing too well. Bit of an obvious one really. So the second player to leave is Freddie Ladapo. Probably not overly familiar, hasn't featured really in the save at all. I think he was on loan at the start of the game. I did bring him back when it was obvious that strikers were a bit of an issue. He made 2 sub appearances in the Premier League, no goals, not even an average rating, so that shows how much he played. He's gone to Chesterfield in League 2 on a free, 1 goal in 4 games, pretty poor average rating, shows we were probably justified. He wasn't really cut out for the Premier League, which we'll get to in a minute with the transfer ins. A big part of my transfer business was in the forward positions, so he was an obvious one to leave really. Not much more to say than that really. The third player to leave is Jordan Much. He goes to Sheffield United. He left for 725k. I think there's more in the deal, so we could get some money off him more in the future, but again, he was on wages that were a bit higher than I was happy to pay for him. He wasn't playing, he didn't really fit into what we were trying to do at all really. Transfer listed from the start of the season. I'd have got rid of him in September if I could have done, just no one was interested. In January there was a few more parties interested. I did have to drop his price a little bit. He can play in those central midfield, deep line playmaker roles, but he just wasn't better than what I had better there already. And again, along with, like I said, with Ladapo, I brought some players in who could maybe contend more. I did the same with midfield, which we'll get to in a bit. So he was never gonna play, so it made sense to get him off the wage bill, get some money in, try and reinvest it in areas of the squad that we did need. So yeah, on to the next one. So the last player out is Jason Punchin. Now this might be a bit of a surprise to some people, but he wasn't playing a mass amount of football for me. He's 31 years old. I was able to get a decent amount of money for him. Again, high wages. He's set his position as an attacking midfielder centre, but he was primarily. I wasn't really playing attacking midfielders. Obviously, I've changed my tactics quite a lot this season, which isn't something I tend to try and do. But this season, I've just chopped and changed, which is probably a big part of the reason we've struggled and not been in the position that we have been. But yeah, Jason Punchin, 31 years old, big wages. Could get a decent amount of money for him. Fulham came in. I think I did transfer list him, or certainly offer him out anyway. But I think what did I get for him, about 5 in the end? Yeah, 5.25. Again, I think there's some clauses, so we may see some money back from him in the future. But he's down in the Championship. Let's see how Fulham are doing. So where are Fulham? Fulham, just below mid-table. Sheffield United, where Jordan Much went to, I didn't check, just above relegation, but points-wise should be safe enough. So yeah, Jason Punchin went. I did also, I think it went down quite to the wire. Andros Townsend was on the verge of going. Wolves came in for him. I think it was 18 million he was valued at. I was happy to take the 18. Again, big wage, big chunk of transfer money to invest elsewhere. But he chose not to go to them in the end, which is a bit disappointing, because obviously the system we've been utilising in the last couple of weeks has not involved wingers, so he's not been playing, he's not been involved, which is part of the reason Jason Punchin went as well. Even though his primary position is cam, he does feature on the wings quite a lot. Zaha, which you'll see in the next episode where I go through the games, I was sort of utilising him as a striker. Obviously, in one of the earlier episodes, I think I touched on, I am training him as a striker. Not going too well, but he's doing a bit of business. But since January, we've got some strikers in now, so not so much of a need for him up there. I have been working on a system as well with wingers, so just give us something a little bit different, because some teams I found, which again I'll probably touch on a little bit more in the other episode, the system we were doing was working really well against the big teams, stifling them, nicking a result. But when it was on us to go out and win the game, it probably wasn't quite doing enough. So I've been tweaking the tactic, tweaking the way we play, and some of that involves some wingers to try and do some damage from out wide, because a lot of the middle play we were doing, especially when Benteke was out injured, just wasn't working. I'm sorry if my voice is going again, it's still a little bit ropey, I'm still getting over the end of it. So let's go on to the ins, shall we? And so the first in is Francisco Saldana. He's a 16-year-old defender, joins us from Benfica. Obviously a big part of the board's request really is that I sign young players for the first team and utilise the under 18s and the under 23s for the first team. Not much in the under 18s and 23s, so I've gone out and bought some players. Incidentally, they weren't happy with the amount of young players I brought in, but I brought in, which we're going to touch on in a minute, I did bring in quite a good few young players. A few of the players I did bring in were a bit more old heads, experience, which we'll get to shortly. But the board were a bit strange. So he's got a 4-star potential. So I'm not sure if I am going to carry on this save. Certainly not on YouTube anyway. Into the second season, I might see how that goes. See if we can take it to the next level next season. Maybe give one more season. But it's a save I am quite enjoying. So even if I don't do it, in this sort of style, I might still play it offline. 1.5 million, which I think represents quite a good deal. In a couple of years, he's going to be, a really good player, challenging for that first team position. 6 foot minimum, really. I look for a defender. I say that now, and I've probably signed one who's shorter, but he's already got 6 under 21 caps at the age of 16, so he looks like he's going to be a very good player. So this is the big one for us this summer. This January rather. James Wilson comes in from Man United. He cost me, I believe, £3 million. Again, there's some more clauses in there that will obviously cost us some more money down the line. 3 appearances so far, 1 assist. Not the best average rating, but he was playing in the way we were. I tried to sort of force him into the way we were playing before, and it doesn't really suit him, which is another reason I've kind of gone for the change in tactic that I mentioned before, which we'll kind of maybe touch on in the next episode. Maybe not the next one, maybe the one after, because we haven't actually played it as yet. I've been sort of working it in the background. sort of training, getting a bit of familiarity with it, and we'll maybe come on to it in the next game, the next live-com game. But I expect him to be a big player for Palace sort of down the line. 3.5 star potential ability. He's 2.5 now, but 17 pace, 15 finishing, poacher. I expect him to come good. Worth 3.8 already. Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I think he could change. A good alternative alongside or instead of Benteke, sort of that big man. I mean, he's 6 foot, so it's not really big man, little man, but certainly sort of target man and sort of fast player off of him. So yeah, I'm really excited about this one. And as you'll see now, there's a few more coming up now. I did go a bit striker transfer happy. I was a bit limited in the options I could bring in. James Wilson was a player I looked at in the summer. Wasn't able to get in then, but as soon as he came available in January, quite a cut price deal, I feel. It was an obvious solution for me, really. But I already had some other irons in the fire, and so we'll get onto them shortly. Jack Byrne, another young midfielder, kind of in the same category as Ledson. He comes in from Wigan. How much did I pay for him? Comes in from Wigan for 1.1. I would say at the moment, certainly, Ledson looks to be probably the better player, but slightly different role, so that's possibly a contributory factor in it. Hasn't played for me yet. A lot of these haven't played for me yet. I mean, literally a lot of them were snapped up towards right at the death on the window, and I kind of was looking at the same situation as the summer window, getting towards the end and not having brought anyone in. So a few panic buys, a few rush deals, which also sort of accommodates for some of them maybe being a bit trigger happy on some of the deals, just not sure if some of the others are going to go through, running out of time, and end up with all of them. So, or certainly most of them. I'll also touch on in a bit, I don't know if I mentioned it, some of the ones I missed out on. But yeah, this guy, again, not going to be in the first team sort of from the off, but someone I can bring in, possibly a Cabaye alternative. Cabaye gets injured, gets a bit tired, got a bit, advanced playmaker sort of role. I think he'll do a job. Irish as well, which is bonus. A lot of my family are from Ireland, so always going to look to try and bring in a good future Irish player and get them going. So yeah, let's go on to the next. Joe Aribo, or soon to be known as Haribo, I'm sure, comes in from Charlton for £500,000, I believe. Yeah, again, fits in a position, plays the Mazzala role, which we have been sort of messing around with. I'm not really up to scratch with a couple of new positions in the game yet. I'm still sort of working them out and trying not to just chuck them all in my team at once and see what happens. It's trying to blend them into the more traditional kind of roles around it, I guess. He has all the attributes played at Mazzala, also in the left hand side. He likes to run with the ball down the left there, as you can see with his player traits. He likes to get forward. He's got some good stats, 6 foot tall, only 21 years old. The coaches don't think much of him, but my coaches aren't very good, so I'll go with my gut instinct. I think he can come in. Is he going to play with Cabaye? No, he's not. Of course he's not. Can he deputise for Cabaye? Absolutely. Along with a couple of others, the one I mentioned previously, can cover Cabaye. Another player I brought in as well, who I think I'll bring on next, because after him there's two more, and they're the two which kind of yeah, I'm quite excited about, shockingly excited about to a degree, but they're the old heads I mentioned. So let's get into those now, shall we? Firstly, we've got a young striker, Aziz Essaisi. He is in the first team at the moment. He can play that sort of second centre attacking midfield role, but he's primarily a striker, primarily a poacher. He comes from FC Midtjylland. I can never pronounce that team. Midtjylland, I'm not sure. Hasn't got any traits or anything yet. He's potentially a 3-star, 2-star for now, but could be up to a 3-star potential striker. But 19 years old. The money he's cost me, he's worth a punt. 4k. He hasn't played a professional game yet. He has been on the bench, I think, for at least a game or two since I signed him. Obviously, he hasn't been brought on. He came on in the cup, didn't do great. He's played in the Champions League. Okay, no, it's the international under 21. Looks like it qualifies, or champ. Is it the under 21s? Under 21 qualifies. Yeah, which makes sense because he's got 5 under 21 caps and two goals. It's not too bad. Again, not the best ability, not the best coach summary, but 12 finish. There's some stats there that I can work with, especially with when I've got have been using sort of 3 strikers and 2 strikers, and Benteke seemingly injured every other week, or not scoring. Either way, same effect. So yeah, I'm excited for this guy. Again, if I play beyond this season, either offline or online, he could be quite a big part of that. So let's get into the next one. So this is the second most expensive deal I made this window. Joe Rankin Costello. He appears on all the Wonder Kid lists. He was an obvious choice. I did try and get him in the first window. I think I went up to about 5-6 million for him. Weren't interested. I've tried to sign him in between the window, ready for this window. Again, 5-6 million. Loads of add-ons. Not interested. Comes to this window, there's quite a bit of interest in him, but he was sort of itching for a move a little bit, and we got him for 2.8, and I see that as a bit of a bargain really. He's a 5-star, technically a 5-star rated player. My staff have him as sort of 3.5 potential, but he's worth 2.3. He's obviously less than what I paid for him, but certainly a player that I think we certainly develop. I think he could even sort of do something as a cover player now. He is still in the under-23s, but I'm sort of confident he can step up. He can play in midfield, centre attacking midfield. He can do a covering job in defensive midfield, not amazingly, but he can cover the wings, the wide positions. Just a bit of versatility. I do like a bit of versatility in the team. He's got some traits that I do like. Bursting into the box, so could be a bit of a Lampard player from the middle. Gets forward, tries killer balls, tries the 1-2s. Could be an interesting player to bring in if I play him right and sort of bring the right system in. The way we have been playing recently probably wouldn't suit him, but the way I have been looking to get the team playing, and certainly part of the challenge is getting Palace playing better football at some point, or playing football at some point, he would be part of that. So yeah, Peter Crouch. Do I need to say any more? Peter Crouch. It was an obvious one. Transfer listed at Stoke. I think his contract was out at the end of the season, but I thought, he's 37. No point signing at the end of the season. He's going to deteriorate. He's got a contract for about another 2 years. Probably won't ever see that out, and it's quite big wages. It's a bit of an indulgent signing, really. But I needed bodies up front. There really wasn't much going. As you can see, I bought the 19-year-old guy from Sweden. Swedish guy. I think Midtjylland might be Danish. That was the sort of player I was sort of being possible to get. So getting a veteran player, striker, who likes to attempt overhead kicks apparently, and play with his back to goal as well. Advanced forward, false 9. He plays some different roles to what I've got already. We've got Kareem, who plays more of a complete forward kind of role. We've got Benteke, who's kind of more of a target man kind of lump up front. Okay, his pace isn't what it was, but it's still 13. It's still as good up there. It's finishing 14, heading 14, 6'7". He's at the very worst. He's a plan B. Bring him on. Last few minutes, pump the ball in the box. See what we can do. It'll certainly ruffle a few feathers. Still in the Premier League. I'm not quite sure how he was doing for Stoke. I'm guessing probably not a lot if he was on the transfer list. I've got him for 195k. He's worth 575, so obviously I'm probably never going to be able to sell him. A, the wages, B, the age. But if I can, he'll probably retire before his contract runs out anyway, so I wouldn't be surprised if he retires at the end of this season. But yeah, he's another option for me. He was partly brought in mind as well with Benteke possibly going. There was a few bids again. I think Everton was one of them, who were the same in September. Never transpired, but he was possibly there as a temporary sort of fill-in for him. I'm struggling to get a team working with Benteke being the focal point. Crouchy would have been a bit like that, but a little bit more to his game. I think he's not really a target man, but he can play it. He's got some of the attributes that fit it. Certainly the height and the heading, and he's got some good passing there, decision making, teamwork as well, work rate. He would have been a good alternative. As it is, I've got them both, and he can do a different job alongside Benteke in lieu of Benteke. So yeah, we'll be interested to see what he can do for us this season, but not holding out miracles for him. But if he can pop up with a couple of important goals, maybe off the bench or something, I'll be more than happy. So this is the final one. Dimitar Berbatov returns to England. Again, he's just a little bit of a different option. He's still got decent kind of ability. Obviously the pace is gone. Pace was never really there. Work rate 5, never ever been there. But you can't just, he played for Tottenham, and I'm an Arsenal fan, but you still can't dispel how quality he was. Again, slightly different roles he can play up front. Obviously not going to play him in the lone striker role. That's probably never going to work. I could be surprised. My tactics hasn't shown to be the best so far, but he's still 6'2". Great passing. It's that first touch, 21st touch. Just a little bit of poise in the final third. Bring out that killer ball. So we've signed him for 2.7k. Joins from India. Obviously been a bit of a journeyman the last couple of years. Went to Man United, went to Fulham. Obviously then floated around Monaco. I think I saw him playing the Emirates Cup at Monaco a few years ago, or a good few years ago now, obviously by the looks of it. Still had the class then, if not the desire or the effort, he still had the class. He's been to Greece since, now obviously then India, and now he's back in London with Crystal Palace. So yeah, that's kind of the sums up of the transfer business really. So in total we spent 17, we brought in 24. Could have been a lot more if Andros Townsend had gone. We're still trying to get rid of Aziz as well, but a lot of teams want us to pay sort of most of his wages still. What is it, his wages? I think they want me to pay sort of 20, 25. He's on 60, so it's a good percentage of his wages that I'm not willing to pay. I'd rather him just go next year. If I am going to play a bit of a change where I have a centre attacking midfield, or a little bit deeper maybe with a bit more support around him, I might give him a bit more game time, and everyone's happy. But I should never have signed him, should never give him 59k. But we're in a position where transfer targets were really of a premium. But then obviously I brought in Alfonso Sousa, and he's sort of in and around the first team and could have done a lot of that himself. So let's sort of get on to the targets that we missed out on. Ben Arthur, his contract's out at the end of the season, Paris Saint-Germain. I just wanted him, again, probably as an up-front kind of option, a bit more of a younger Berbatov, someone who's going to drop deep, get the ball, turn and run it. Obviously, Berbatov probably not so much going to run at defenders, but that's what my thoughts were with him. And then obviously, if I did want to play wingers, he could play on the wings as well. His wages were absolutely ridiculous. He'd have been the highest earner at the club by, the ridiculous margin. So it didn't happen. It was never going to happen. I touched on it a bit earlier. Jack Wilshere, again, I don't think he went anywhere in the end. Let's have a quick look. Jack Wilshere. No, still at Arsenal. West Ham came in for him. I think he's transfer listed, in fact, actually now. Yeah, transfer listed pretty much just before the start of the window. Or is it the start of the window? Can't remember. I think is it January to February the window? I think it is. No. Yeah, January to February. Yeah. So he before the window opened, he got put on the transfer list. West Ham aren't interested in him now. I guess they were scared off by his wages, 90k. That's still not as much as Ben Arthur was after. But sorry, just knocked my mic over there. Yeah, not as much as Ben Arthur was after, but still, yeah, too much. And the fee they wanted as well. They weren't willing to bring that down, negotiate that at all. So we didn't have that sort of money. If Townsend had gone, who knows, maybe. But that's what I was banking on, and it just never transpired. Another one was another veteran striker I tried to get, Samuel Eto'o. From, I think he's in Turkey. Again, wage demand's too high. He's like 37, 38. I wasn't willing to pay the sort of money he was after. And the fee I think the club wanted was pretty high as well, considering his age. When I already had Crouch on the agenda, I already had Berbatov coming in. It just didn't make sense to pay him that sort of money. So between both parties, it just didn't happen. Debussy was looking at a right back. Joel Ward does a decent job, but I wanted someone who could play a bit more of a wing back kind of role naturally, I guess. Joel Ward isn't really that player, but he chose to join Torino. He said, I didn't even know Torino were coming for him. I had my director of football who's really not very helping me. I'm thinking of just getting rid of him. Every target I make, he either takes too long and I lose the player, or he just makes a ridiculous offer. I go in and make the offer, and the player comes in. So yeah, he'll be going. Studley Friedman of Oracle, but the Palace legend back in the day, but not really doing much for me. So I think at the end of the season he goes out, maybe bring another one in. I like to have the director of football there to renew contracts and stuff, and if he's what I've got, I don't trust that at all. And the last one would have been another veteran striker, Robbie Keane, but he didn't want to join. He didn't want to leave one boyhood club in India to join his other boyhood club, Crystal Palace. So he stays in India. He's like 36, 37, still doing a decent job over there. I think he could have still done a job for us. Still got a few of the stats that would have been quite good. But he was happy to stay in India, and I guess earn more money than he would do with us, which is shocking really. But you know, that's the club we are at the moment. We're not blessed with finances. The club's in a bit of a poor position in that regard. So, but if we could go and look at the board, so we are stable. So you can see there, we're disappointed with the number of young first team players you've signed. A majority of the ones I signed. James Wilson is still young. Edson, young. Byrne, young. Hobro, young. Sessi, young. Rankin, Costello, young. That's 6. You know, Crouchy, Berbatov are the 2 older ones, and I guess from the other window, Kareem class is a bit of an older one. It's still a massive margin. As you can see, the transfer budget, we've got about 300k left at the end of the season. We weren't really able to spend that. I brought that down a little bit as well. It was on about $1 million and something, but I brought it down just to bring the wages in line. It wasn't looking too good. But yeah, I think that really sort of sums up the transfer special today. And join me next time. We'll go through sort of what's happened since the last couple of games against Crystal and Burnley up to this point now in February. Before we can then move on with the save and sort of getting the next games going and sort of plough through to the end of the season. So until next time, see you later.